Today's episode of Royally Obsessed is brought to you by the California Avocado Commission. California avocados are in season from right now through the end of summer. They're grown locally by California farmers who nurture the avocados and land every step of the way with uncompromising dedication to quality and freshness.
There's nothing quite like a perfectly ripe avocado. It's delicious. And California avocados are locally and responsibly grown and picked at the peak of their season, resulting in fruit that is fresh and consistent in taste and texture.
And did you know that the Hass avocado, the most common variety that you know and love, is a California native and was first cultivated in Southern California? Be sure to look for California on the label to ensure you are getting avocados grown close to home. From family meals to grabbing a snack on the go, incorporate California avocados into your dishes for dynamic flavors and texture.
I love avocados. I'm actually eating it in my lunch salad right now. That's right next to me here. I'm holding it up.
Oh my gosh.
Delicious. This episode of Royally Obsessed is brought to you by HP Instant Ink.
No one is reading your mind, but HP Instant Ink knows when your printer is running low and sends new cartridges before you run out. So you never have to think about ink.
For details, visit hp.com/instant ink. Royally Obsessed. Conditions apply.
Hear ye, hear ye. Please rise for their majesties of Royally Obsessed, the podcast for all things royals.
Stand by! 3 cheers for Her Majesty, the Queen!
It's time for Royally Obsessed. I'm Roberta.
I'm Rachel. I was going to try and make a sound effect, but I can't do that like you can.
Oh.
What do you do? Like, pew, pew, pew. I can't do it.
Boop, 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 like the trumpets
Yeah,
that
that's
usher
good.
us in.
I love it.
We are back, and it is time for your weekly update on all the royal news you need to know. We're heading into a long weekend, so I feel like we have a lot of pep in our step, in our voices.
We have a lot of pep. Bring it on.
A couple of royal reminders, as always. Follow us on Instagram at Royally Obsessed Podcast. You can also send us an email at info@gallerypodcasts.com. We have a wonderful listener email today. And subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Rachel, how's it going?
It's good. I will say I have pep, but I'm also have a little low-key anxiety because we're moving this week. And I just have, like, as soon as we finish recording, I'm back to packing. It's just like, packing, you went through it recently. It's just a lot, right?
It is. It's overwhelming. You have to do it. I think you're doing it right, though, and breaking it up into chunks. Like, I think
Yeah, but
that's
it still
the best
isn't
method.
enough. Like, I think we started too late in the game, and now we just have so much still. It's like the 11th hour things where you're like, we should just throw this out, but then it feels so wasteful. So we're trying to find, we went and did another run to U-Haul to get more boxes this morning at like 7 a.m.
Oh my gosh. I know.
So-
I know it well. But once you're done with that, then you can really just
I'll just look at your
bask in-
Instagram photos for like what the after is, because it's always so like lovely. Your deck space, I love looking at it.
and that you'll be back in New York. That's such a good reward for all of this.
That feels like a milestone when you just think about like the last 18 months, especially. Just, it's been crazy.
And you'll be on vacation before you know it.
Yes.
So it's all
yes.
good.
We're going to get into all that. But we have so much in this episode we want to talk about. But we also want to flag that this is one of a 2-part episode, because Roberta and I were incredibly cognizant with our producers of the fact that our episode goes live on Thursdays, the same day as the event we've been waiting for years, which is, it feels like years, right?
It is.
Years.
It's been years. 2017 is when they announced the statue.
Okay.
So technically it's been years.
So the Diana statue unveiling is happening the same day this episode goes live. So as a special gift to our beloved Roros, we are having a bonus episode that will go live on Friday that will just kind of go over what
Tomorrow.
happens.
Yeah.
So we're really pretty pumped for that. But in this episode, we also are talking about the Scotland tour that the Queen is on with William, as well as Princess Anne, who's due to arrive. We're getting into the report about the Sovereign Grant, as well as raising a glass to what would have been Diana's 60th birthday. So a lot to talk about in this week's episode.
Yeah, and we definitely couldn't miss out on just recapping quickly the statue unveiling. So definitely tune in Friday to listen to that recap.
And Roberta, we also should take a minute just to mention that as part of this, we will actually be on vacation next week. We should mention that as well.
Woo! I hope
Which is
everyone
like-
gets a long weekend.
I know. I feel like we're just taking a much, needed pause and really like taking a beat for ourselves. But we are not leaving you high and dry. The very words I feel like apply, because we are having a special episode where we are going over cocktails in the royal family with Noah Rothbaum, who's the drinks editor at Daily Beast. So it'll be really fun, and I think apropos apropos, given the festivities of 4th of July week.
Exactly.
All right, I'm done. That was a lot of info.
Yeah, it is. Celebrating America, though, with a drinks editor is so much fun and so apropos, as you said. I feel like that's perfect. And it's lovely to chat about royal cocktails with Noah. So
much
definitely tune in next
housekeeping.
week.
I had to get out of the way.
I know.
Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
so moving on to our royal refreshment. Cheers,
Perfect
Rachel.
timing. Cheers with my marvelous Miss Maisel glass. Sorry, I'm not on brand.
I love it.
And now it's time for the weekly royal cocktail.
So we're sipping Rosa Regale. I'm doing the sparkling red from Bonfi.
I'm doing the sparkling white.
Sparkling white. How is that?
It's good. It's crisp.
Good.
Delightful.
Yeah. Sparkling red is my favorite, actually. I love Lambrusco. That's what this is. This tastes like, which is so summery, and you chill it and you have it outside. I feel like
I actually topped mine. I added gin and some lemon juice to make like a pseudo French 75. I just topped it off with the sparkling white, but it's very refreshing and summery. It's one of my favorite summer drinks.
Yum. All right, as we're sipping, we're going to read a lovely listener email. So same as last week, we had more Diamond Jubilee emails pouring in. They are such a delight to vicariously live through. Carrie sent us this wonderful note, and we've shortened it a little bit here for time's sake. So she said, "Hi, Roberta and Rachel. I lived in London in 2011 and 2012 for grad school, so I got to attend some of the 2012 Olympics and many of the Diamond Jubilee events. I remember getting up very early to get a spot along the mall to see the carriage procession. There was so much pomp and circumstance, but a very fun atmosphere. I was with a few other Americans from my grad program for these events, and we decided we couldn't miss the opportunity to see these once-in-a-lifetime celebrations. I saw the Queen and 3 other royals 3 times in the span of 3 days. It was wild. I've attached some kind of blurry photos. Cell phone cameras have come a long way since 2012. Enjoy, Carrie." These photos. She got one of Kate, William, and Harry all together. It's so good. The Queen. She was so close.
Unbelievable. Also, the line about just like the fact that it is a once in a lifetime celebration. I definitely have regrets that I didn't make the effort to go over for like Kate and William's wedding and Meghan and Harry's wedding, because you recognize how important these events are. And so we have a chance next year with the Platinum Jubilee.
I was going to say it's twice in a lifetime now because we have this huge celebration coming up.
We are, speaking of the Platinum Jubilee, we are getting sort of a few updates about next year, in addition to this headline about the fact that Harry and Meghan have officially been invited. And I just feel like, to me, that's not a surprise. It's someone just trying to do like another clickbait headline, but also just, the Daily Mail's coverage of it was all about the lineup on the balcony and will they or won't they be included up there. And I just think, again, it's like finding the negativity. If this is confirmed, it's always that angle that they take.
I worry about the Sussexes being there just because I feel like there's so many opportunities for them to make it look like they're being snubbed, because I think the Daily Mail article, or maybe a different one, mentioned like, it can only be working royals on the balcony, so no one else can be up there, so Harry and Meghan won't be up on the balcony. It's like, I just think it's twisting it. A loving grandmother inviting her doting grandson to an event that he obviously is going to be included in as family. It just feels like every time there's just a way to make it feel like the Sussexes are being left out, and it's because they successfully, I feel like, forged their own path. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll just expect it from now on.
Perfect segue into the next topic, I guess, because I'm sure we'll see a lot of it this week.
All right. Well, this week in royal history.
And now, this week in royal history.
We're flashing back to Princess Diana. Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1st, 1961 at Park House near Sandringham. Obviously, July 1st is also the day of the statue unveiling and the day that this podcast episode airs. So we'll definitely be covering. I know, huge. So what we know about the statue unveiling so far, and obviously as this comes out Thursday, we'll know more and talk about it on Friday. But Kate and Charles supposedly won't be there. Charles has a trip to Scotland planned, and it's looking like they want to keep this very small and low key. So aside from William and Harry, the only people expected to attend are close family of Diana, which I would expect would be her sisters Sarah and Jane, and also her brother Charles. There is also going to be members of the statue committee, which are some of Diana's friends, and also a former equerry, and the sculptor Ian Rank Broadley, and garden designer Pip Morrison. So just some questions, I feel like open-ended questions we have going into this. How would Diana feel about the state of her son's relationship? I think that's one of the biggest questions. Like, will this be a warm event, or will it be more of separate speeches? very
Cold but distant, like
yeah,
that kind of
or
thing.
very very orchestrated, I guess is
Yeah.
what, like putting on a
Rehearsed,
show.
yeah.
Yeah, rehearsed, exactly. What do you think?
I think for me, I'm just really hopeful that it's like not just for appearances at this point. I think I read, maybe it was a Vanity Fair, that they will get some time ahead of the ceremony to privately view the statue. I hope that there's a lot of, conversations at a minimum going on right now. Obviously there's a lot of, conflict that they have to work through. But at the very least, I hope that these continual, Harry making the effort to go to the UK, like that opens a door and they have these in-person moments. It's important with the pandemic to, we've been apart for so long, to make sure that you're taking advantage of those times together, I think.
And I just thought of this too. Like, I think it is kind of good that Kate and Meghan won't be there, just because I feel like it is a chance for the brothers to just one-on-one without anyone else there, kind of cut through the noise of everything that's been going on, everything that's being said about their relationship, and really hopefully at least be able to do this in honor of their mother's memory, which we have, like we mentioned before, been looking forward to since 2017 when it was announced.
Yeah.
2017 was the 20th anniversary of her death.
Yeah.
So I feel like if without other people there, which we know Kate played somewhat of a royal peacemaker at Prince Philip's wedding, but I do think it is nice to have just the brothers. So
yeah, I also feel like it's going to be incredibly powerful, the images of just, Harry and William and Diana's family for the most part, and, the sculptor and the people involved. I just think that it feels like this circle, and really the people that went through it so intimately back when Diana passed away. So I think that it's going to be really moving for all of us watching. I don't want to say I'm looking forward to it, but I mean, actually, I do want to say that I'm looking forward to it, because I think also just Ian Rank Broadley's work is unbelievable. You should definitely make a point, if anyone listening, to check out his website for sure. I can't wait to see the final result.
I can't either. I'm so looking forward to seeing it, and also feeling like we have this opportunity to mourn such an important figure, I feel like, for us as royal fans, but for everyone around the world. I feel like these opportunities to actually honor Diana's legacy and life are not that often, so it'll be really nice to be able to come together like that.
I think it's going to be such an incredible addition, in her memory.
And we also heard from Harry this week. So we got a little video for the Diana Award ahead of the statue unveiling. Here's a clip from that.
Our mum believed that young people have the power to change the world. She believed in your strength because she saw it day in and day out. And in the faces of young people exactly like you, she witnessed a boundless enthusiasm and passion. And I too see those same values shine through. As it has done for 21 years now, the Diana Award carries her legacy forward by putting young people at the centre of our future. And this has never been more important. And Meghan and I fundamentally believe that our world is at the cusp of change, real change, for the good of all.
I had two immediate reactions to this. One is Harry at Frogmore Cottage in this video for the Diana Award. What do you think?
Oh, no, I definitely think it's Montecito.
Oh, it is?
Because you can see the nest, the edge of one of the nest paintings.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry to ruin
I watched it on my phone.
theory.
And I was like, it looked somehow different to me. It looked like a little bit older, like it just somehow, but I guess I wasn't looking closely.
It's a different corner of the room where the white couches that they sit on, which I think looks like a TV room. But how there was that one photo and there's those three, like the gallery of nest paintings or photographs.
Oh, you're right.
You know what I'm talking about? So there's the edge of one.
Okay.
And I forget who did those paintings, but they're really beautiful. But yeah, it's definitely, but they had like, bouquet and stuff. I feel like maybe they have the same paintings at Frogmore. I don't know.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I'll let it go. But the other thing is, I just really liked the line that he, where he's saying that Meg and I fundamentally believe that our world is on the cusp of change, real change for the good of all, separating everything from the royals. I just think sometimes optimism is so nice to hear, and it's so rare that we hear it. Do you know what I mean?
That's so true.
Separating the royals from all of this, it's just been such a brutal year. And I'm like, okay, this is someone, whether it's true or not, telling us that the efforts we're making are going to actually have a good result. And I just need to hear that sometimes.
You do. You definitely do. Did you also notice that he mentioned William twice?
Yes, I did. And I actually really think that that's interesting. And it makes me think about, sort of the churn of all these media headlines that we're seeing. It's like, I think maybe where Meghan, I always think of this line where she said, I was nowhere, but I was everywhere. Like, there's a lot of what's the word, just sort of, churning out of this content. And we really don't know what the state of things are. And, I think we'll maybe see more of it on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be optimistic. The separate speeches, though, it just doesn't bode that well for them coming together. But maybe it's
at the
that
same, yeah.
Like they have separate memories of their parents.
That's what I was going to say, is I think that sometimes it's almost like the Oscar speeches or something where everyone wants a turn to say what they want to say. And this kind of gives them equal time. And maybe that's more, I don't know. I'm applying the sibling dynamics again.
No, I love it. I just am picturing like someone getting played off the stage because their speeches took too long. Like that's not going to happen, hopefully.
That would be great, right?
No, you're right. You're right. It's like you want to have your own time to kind of speak. And it would be weird. It's like who speaks on behalf of each of them. You know what I mean? Like if it was one speech, they'd have to switch off. That might be weird, the technicalities and logistics of that. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. This episode of Royally Obsessed is brought to you by HP Instant Ink.
No one is reading your mind, but HP Instant Ink knows when your printer is running low, and they send you new cartridges right away, so you never have to think about ink.
Save up to 50%. You'll pay less than $5 a month for ink and never run out again. Find out if your printer is eligible and enroll today at hpinstantink.com. Conditions apply.
For details, visit hp.com/instantink. Royally Obsessed. All right, moving on to Scotland.
So this is a big pandemic milestone in a lot of ways because the Queen is back for Holyrood Week, which I guess, it was canceled last year. This year it's being done with a limited capacity. Like she cannot have the garden party with that 1,000 guests that she typically hosts. But the Queen is back. William, the Earl of Strathern, am I saying that right, Roberta?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Is by her side or was by her side at the beginning of the week. And Princess Anne is joining Wednesday and Thursday, which again, we don't know exactly what she'll be participating in because of when this episode is recorded. But this is the Queen's first visit to Scotland since the death of Prince Philip. So it is, it's a milestone moment for her in a lot of ways.
Also, I just realized that they're about to visit Stirling as well, which is where I lived. It's really small, though, so I'm very surprised that they're going to visit there. But it's where the University of Stirling is, where my parents taught for a year while they were on sabbatical.
You're such an insider on this. You're going to recognize all the photos when we get the official pics of what they do.
Well, I wonder if they're going to the Wallace Monument, which is there. That's William Wallace from Braveheart and played by Mel Gibson. Yeah, I just feel like that's like really the only thing that I feel like they could. I mean, there's a beautiful church there. There's the university. There's not much else. So I'm very curious to see how that'll turn out. But maybe I'll see some old childhood
Way to place it for me, Roberta. Yeah. I feel like I saw Braveheart in the theaters, but I definitely covered my eyes for it. I was always like what do they call it? Like finger vision, where they're like partially open, but you're not really watching.
I would still cover my eyes for it. I think I'm pretty sure that that's what the landmark that makes it so famous, because it's on a golf course there. And I could actually see. This is now all coming back to me. I could see the Wallace Monument from my bedroom when we lived there. So that's really funny. Anyways. Continue.
I loved that. Well, but it's also, I think this, as part of the royal tradition, the Queen stays at the house for a full week. And it's, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance. But I thought it's funny because we did recently see the Holyrood house because it was the site of the Cruella screening, which I still haven't watched. It's on my list actually for next week. So we did see it in a very fancy format. But anyways, about this pomp and circumstance that they're going through, this event just made me smile because the Queen, as one of her first official engagements, she goes through a ceremony where she gets the keys to the city. They're handed to her by the Lord Provost of Edinburgh. And William was there for this, but immediately after, as part of this ceremony, she is given the keys and then she hands them right back over. And so she says, I return these keys, being perfectly convinced that they cannot be placed in better hands than those of the Lord Provost. And I just think that that's like such a funny, I get the symbolism of it, but it's a very sort of like, here are the keys. No, you take the keys. It just made me laugh. Made me laugh.
I like it.
I want to work that into like my daily life because I just think that that's so like sweet and kind and just funny.
No. You take the keys. You drive.
Well, I couldn't take the keys because they just belong so perfectly in your hands.
No. I am perfectly convinced they should be in your hands.
Just made me laugh.
This is
Very
like Dave
cool.
and I arguing who's going to drive. I'm like, no. You can take the keys. That's
So funny.
I love it. These old little like traditions are so funny.
Yeah. And speaking of traditions, they also went to AJ Barr's factory in Cumbernauld where William took a sip of Iron Brew. What is
Iron Brew?
Oh, see, I don't even know.
Oh God, it's terrible.
Is it?
It's the worst. Yeah, it's like bubblegum soda.
Oh.
And it's bright orange.
I noticed in the videos that it was bright orange.
It's like more orange than Aperol, and it is awful. If you ever wanted to drink carbonated bubblegum, that's what you should drink, mixed with Pepto-Bismol. That's what it tastes like, and it's horrible. And we would have it after school, I remember. And also, another thing that Scotland is, or like as a kid, known for kind of the after school snack is Iron Brew and then anything deep fried. So you could have a deep fried slice of pizza. You could have just like how they, deep fried fish and chips, like there's that really fluffy fry on the outside.
Yum.
A deep fried hamburger, a deep fried
sounds incredible.
Mars bar. Like
Why is this not at Smorgasburg in Brooklyn? We got to get some sort of
I guess I should
thing.
open a Scottish
You
food
should.
stand.
Well, but in Iron Brew's defense, they are known as the most popular carbonated drink in Scotland, and it rivals whiskey as the country's national drink. So I thought that was interesting. They've been around for more than a century.
Yeah, some people might like it. Maybe people who are listening have tried it and like it. Let us know if you have, but I am not a fan.
Yeah.
I would rather sip anything but that.
What was interesting as well is on the royal family social media account from this visit, they had quite a supercut video. Did you see that?
I
it was
saw
kind of
that.
the first, I scrolled back a good amount, and I really think this was one of the first times that the royal family account has embraced sort of a more modern,
Almost
I don't want
like
to say
having-
gimmicky, but more modern social media.
Yeah, almost like having Prince William's social media team there kind of helped up their game a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
it was
maybe They
nice.
helped
I liked
produce
it.
it all together. Yeah,
I definitely liked it.
Did you see a reaction William drinking it? Was he like, "Oh, this is good"? I can't
Yeah, he
remember
seemed
what-
like he actually really liked it. I watched the BTS on it, and he like had I think he had more than a sip. He definitely, and he mentioned that he drank it a lot when he was training for the RAF.
And I hope I'm not offending anyone by saying it's horrible. That's definitely just my personal opinion. All opinions expressed are my own. And definitely tell me what you feel about it because I want to know. But yeah, I don't think we can go over and try it one day, Rachel. And
All
you'll
right.
tell me what your honest opinion of it.
When is that? We have to get this Google Doc going. We're going to have to comb back through episodes with our list when we're there.
I know.
We did get word today, though, this was cool, that William announced that Kate will officially be sponsor of the HMS Glasgow. And this is one of the new Type 26 ships that are under construction as a Royal Navy endeavor. And I guess what it means when she sponsors it is that Kate will have an ongoing relationship with the vessel and crew. So she'll attend any deployments,
I also saw she'll be at the naming ceremony and things like that. Like, that's pretty cool. She's not a captain, but she's kind of captain.
She'll kind of like make sure she's keeping tabs and shepherding them along, I think, and just
Unofficial captain.
Yeah. I did like this part of the announcement. It's a great moment for Kate, but also just that there's a picture. Did you see? You can click the link that the kids. Prince William was gifted 3 models of the ship for the kids to paint, which is a very nice little cute touch.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
That's really sweet.
But they're like models, but they also seem kind of bulky. So hopefully they
they're
can
huge.
transport
Yeah.
them well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's great. I think that it's just nice, this in-person event, even if it's limited because of COVID, just being cognizant of numbers and the garden party being canceled. But the Queen looks amazing. She was a vision in blue. She didn't wear a mask inside. I know people are kind of past that, but I still just feel like, why not? But
Yeah, especially for her. But I think
yeah, because she's, 95. But
Right.
anyways, she's vaccinated and all that. So, and this is an important trip again because there's such a big push by Nicola Sturgeon for a new vote on independence from the monarchy. So
yeah, it
makes
definitely
sense.
feels like they wanted. I mean, this sounds terrible, like throwing as many royals as they can at this cause, which is that they want to keep the union together and
yeah.
not have Scotland vote to leave. So, but I do think for Scottish people in particular, Brexit was such a big deal that, Scotland opposed Brexit. And so I think in a lot of ways, this is the time to kind of put your best royal foot forward and convince people that they need, to stick together. But who knows how this will all turn out. And I did love the pictures of the Queen meeting with Nicola Sturgeon. I felt like her dress was stunning. I mean, the Queen just looked as lively and peppy as ever. And
She looks so joyful.
And they coordinated in blue, and it was a nice scene there of them meeting. So I think that, there's more to come from this Scottish tour. Sterling is on the map. I'm excited to see what happens next.
One more William update I want to get in that's actually William, Kate, and George update is we know that William's back in London. Kate and William took George to watch England play in the European Championships at Wembley Stadium on Tuesday. There were so many great moments, mostly via George.
Yeah, the tie. This mini tie that he's wearing is so adorable. I don't think we've ever seen him in a tie, have we? Maybe once or twice, but this was so cute.
Yeah, because even for weddings, I feel like it's not really a tie that he's worn. But I did find out that the game, I guess, was at 5 p.m. and he went, I guess it was after school, which is just kind of funny. It's like a casual after school event. I'm dressing up and going to the game. And we know he's super into soccer or football, as they say.
NBD meeting David Beckham after school. Geez.
Yeah. So they said hello to David Beckham, took their seats. George apparently, was seen singing the national anthem. So quality family night out.
I love it. Being an East Coaster, it's hard to admit this, but can we just take a moment to talk about how beautiful California is? The beaches, the weather, the overall vibe. It's also inviting.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. And that's why we're so excited to tell you about our new sponsor, the California Avocado Commission. Did you know that the Hass avocado everyone knows and loves originated in Southern California?
I do now. They are grown locally by California farmers who nurture the avocados and land every step of the way with uncompromising dedication to quality and freshness.
Roberta, I have to tell you, Finn is such a picky eater, but the one thing he will eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is avocado toast. But it's my one gourmet moment as a parent is the fact that he likes avocados.
Finn and I have that in common.
So be sure to look for California on the label to ensure you are getting avocados grown close to home. From family meals to grabbing a snack on the go, incorporate California avocados into your dishes for dynamic flavors and texture.
All right, moving on. So we have the Sovereign Grant that came out last week. And as a reminder, the Sovereign Grant funds the official duties of senior royals and maintains occupied palaces. So a lot to dig into with this, a lot of numbers that I'll be throwing out. But the two main things we want to dig into are the Sussexes, repayment, and diversity. But first, let's go through total spending. So that was £87.5 million or $122 million. I'm going to mostly say these in dollars because I just feel like my brain, it's way easier to digest if it's in dollars. So I'll just stick to dollars.
Cool.
So that's a 26% increase from previous years, even though tourism income was down 53% last year from COVID.
Wow. That's a huge
really
blow.
hard hit on the purse strings for that. The notable spends, though, I thought these were just interesting. Over $70 million goes to the Queen's events alone and her staff, which are a number 499 staff at Buckingham Palace. And the Buckingham Palace private secretary, Sir Edward Young, makes over $300,000 a year, which I always feel like we hear about how little palace staffers make, but I was very surprised at $300,000.
Probably a pretty big job, but that's a hefty salary.
That's true. Also, he reminds us of Higgins from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, we did a Google photo search because we were just curious who he was, and he is a spitting image of Higgins. Yeah, which is back in July. Woohoo!
I know, so soon. The helicopter trips for the royal family, over $900,000, almost $1 million. Wild helicopter trips. Now it just reminds me of seeing the Cambridges at the helicopter, going to Anmer Hall. That was their way they got to Anmer Hall every time they were going back and forth to London, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
They spend over, this is mind-blowing, nearly $700,000 on cleaning and laundry.
What is that? Is that staff or
I feel bad when I have to pay $5 to get my sweater dry cleaned.
Dry cleaning is a bill. I every time I drop stuff off.
$700,000?
Ugh. You'd think that would have gone down during the pandemic with I guess they're still dressing up for Zoom, but
I don't know. Or is it the curtains need to be laundered specific
oh,
ways or
interesting. It's
something?
probably
like
way more than clothes, like the linens, all that stuff. If
cleaning and laundry. That's just so mind-blowing. More than 900,000 on rail travel, which a lot of people have said they need to retire the Royal Train because it's not cost effective at all.
Interesting.
But, I mean, it does make people smile.
It's a quick way to get around.
What can you do? All right, the two main things we want to dig into is the Sussexes repayment. So the Sussexes, as a reminder, paid back $3.3 million to the sovereign grant to cover the costs of the refurbishment of Frogmore Cottage. But that also, we found out with this sovereign grant, includes rent through March 31st of 2022. The interesting thing about that is I am curious why they're paying rent, because this was a gift from the Queen when they got married, the home. And so I just think that's interesting. Also, what happens when their rent is expired? Are they not allowed to stay at Frogmore Cottage?
Maybe it was a temporary test to see if they want to, they had like a lease, and they could continue the lease.
Right. Maybe they'll continue to do that after March of next year. But then also, are Eugenie and Jack paying... It sounds like they're the subletters and they're paying Harry and Meghan, which is very interesting kind of scheme that they've worked out here. Sir Michael Stevens, who's keeper of the Privy Purse, said that it helped their payment, the Sussexes' payment, helped to offset the reduction from the 53% fall in tourism-related finances. Of course, the British tabloids are all upset in a flutter. They are upset that it was revealed Charles was paying for the Sussexes' security until between April and June of last year. And they say that seems to contradict what Harry and Meghan said in the Oprah interview. Here's that clip.
But also the Netflix and the Spotify of it all, that was never part of the plan.
Yeah, because you didn't have a plan.
We didn't have a plan. That was suggested by somebody else by the point of where my family literally cut me off financially. And I had to afford security for us.
Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Your family cut you off?
Yeah, in the first quarter of 2020. But I've got what my mum left me. And without that, we would not have been able to do this.
So what's confusing is that the first quarter in the US is January to March, but in the UK, it's actually April to June. So it does line up, and I think that's where the confusion was. But also, the British tabloids are saying, well, look, like Charles is saying he paid $4 million. But what's not being told is how that breakdown is actually split between the two brothers. So we don't know how much actually went to Harry and how much went to William. Could it have been, it's not... It couldn't
is it less? Is it more? Yeah.
We don't know if it's 50-50.
Yeah,
we have no idea. We also don't know when those payments exactly stopped. It was sometime between April and June, but it's probably the most likely is that Charles gave them the rest of the money in that time span and said, look, this is all we're giving you after, this is the last bulk amount of money that we're going to give you, and then you're on your own. And that's, I think, what Harry and Meghan were saying in the Oprah interview as well, that they were cut off financially. They got this last payment from Charles, and then it was like, that's it, you're cut off, goodbye.
And April to June is when they were officially done as working royals.
Yeah, I mean, March 31st.
Yeah, March 31st. So they got like one more payment, it sounds like.
I just don't think they would have had to turn to Tyler Perry and had to borrow his house if they weren't in this kind of financial trouble that they first saw for themselves. We don't know how much their security is, but I would think it's a really hefty amount if they really had to borrow, or tap into Harry's trust from Diana, So I think that's it's like, why are you poking holes in this when the keeper of the Privy Purse has said that they're, these are two separate things, but I think that it's interesting to note that, like, the sovereign grant, like what's being said is that the Sussexes really helped kind of offset the deficit that the royals
and it was
faced.
nice that they actually gave them that credit. Did you think that when
I felt like that was super, like that was...
It was rare, I guess I should say.
Diplomatic moment, for them to say... Honestly, this is how and that's how finances are. Like, you can't hide behind the numbers, like the numbers speak for themselves. Like, it is clear that the royals had a bigger a bigger deficit than last year, and that the Sussexes payment helped to alleviate some of that. So
the transparency on this was nice, but we want to get into the next section of that in terms of transparency.
Right. So that's the diversity aspect. So the second part is that they disclosed the proportion of ethnic minority employees in the sovereign grant, and within Buckingham Palace alone, it's 8.5% ethnic minority employees. In Clarence House, it's 8%, and Kensington Palace did not reveal the percentage, but it's thought to be considerably lower. So they also said that there's a target of 10% by the end of 2022. What are your thoughts here?
I think my gut reaction is that 8.5%, 8% feels incredibly low given the number of staffers, but also the fact that, the goal of 10% by the end of 2022 doesn't feel aggressive enough to me. Like, is that your take?
That's my take too. I think, we kind of talked about this earlier and how the numbers shake out. And actually 8.5% of 499 is 43 employees and 10% is only 50 employees. So that's just a surplus of 7 people that they have to hire in a year, by more than a year, in a year and a half. 7 people just doesn't seem like it's that aggressive of a goal. I mean, we don't know exactly like how many open positions there are, or what positions they need filled, or how many are they beefing up employment in general across the board. I just think for the kind of statistics of how London's census shakes out. So 14% of the population in England and Wales is non-white. Mm-hmm. And in London, that number is 35%. So 10% just seems so low in comparison to all that. But also, if you think about the Commonwealth, I mean, one of the things they mentioned in this report was we recognize that our own workforce needs to reflect the communities we serve. And they specifically mentioned the Commonwealth, which has, 19 countries that are located in Africa, India, Pakistan. Like, it just feels like it's not enough. It's not aggressive enough.
The idea is that this number will keep increasing. I think I just wish that it was at 15% by the end of 2022. And then the next year, it was just continually, every year, I think the idea, hopefully from this admission or sort of transparency, is that they'll keep increasing that number. But I just feel like we were saying, like, it just feels like there could be a higher goal by the end of 2022, because that's a year and a half from now.
Well, and they mentioned that. So Sir Stevens, the keeper of the Privy Purse, he said, "We recognize that despite all our efforts to target recruitment, train our managers in diversity and inclusion, and to build an inclusive workplace, the results are not what we would like. But we are committed to improving this, and hence we have started to publish for the first time our diversity statistics to ensure that we are both open and transparent about our efforts to improve." I think also what we really need to know from this report, and hopefully next year it's improved upon, is what's the pay gap? How do these ethnic minority salaries compare to their white counterparts, the white employees there? What exact jobs do these people hold? How does that compare? So I think there's so much we still don't know, and hopefully them saying we're going to keep improving and be open and transparent. I mean, it needs to be radical transparency.
It does.
It's just not.
But one question I have just, with that statement, it feels incredibly rare to get a statement. I know we're just like, oh my gosh, just like one tiny like little nugget of like, I do feel like that's cool that they are acknowledging that they need to change publicly. Like, that just never happens. It's not enough by far, but I am like, it seems
for them to like, they literally quote said, the palace said, there is more work to do on the issue of diversity. That's huge.
It's way better than that, like, bogus diversities are, what's going on with that?
So that was just shelved. Like, they said that they may revisit it, but they're not hiring one at the moment. So there's no diversity chief, which I think is just so obvious that was such a PR stunt to kind of cast the spotlight away from Meghan and Harry's racism accusations. And I think that truly shows how this game works. It's a game of manipulation and a game of the media with the invisible contract that we mentioned. So I do think that while it is huge that they're saying there's more work to do on the issue, I mean, and it's better than William's throwaway comment of we are very much not a racist family. Yeah. There's still so much that we need to know.
This is just like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Right. Kensington Palace didn't even share a number for their ethnic minority employees. So I just think that there's so much. I mean, why not hire diversity czar? I know that was kind of such a like
just a little bizarre of a title, but at the same time, it's
like like a show in a way, but it does feel like it would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So really great going through this, Roberta. I feel like it's a lot.
There's so much more to dig into. It's really interesting, but
the report was massive. So
yeah. All right, well, before we adjourn the Royal Pod, here are highs and lows.
It's time for the Royal Highs and Lows.
Milo is just this Earl of Dumbarton report. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, so this report says that Harry and Meghan declined to give Archie pass on the title of Earl of Dumbarton because they didn't like that it had the word dumb in it, and they thought Archie would be made fun of, which is so silly. And anyone from this area would never think twice about that being, it's just so strange. I just think this feels like a tabloid made-up kind of thing. It also feels very contradictory because Harry and Meghan have those titles. They accepted them on their wedding day. When in Scotland, they were the Earl and Countess of Dumbarton. So I think it's really funny, too, that even Scottish officials laughed it off. Jackie Bailey, a member of Scottish Parliament, tweeted, "I'm reflecting on this low blow and will issue a full statement in the morning."
It is a low blow. My goodness. Like,
It's
not to
almost
Harry and Meghan, but to Dumbarton. It's just not cool.
And
I keep saying not
for
cool.
whoever made up this story to be like, it has the word dumb in it. It's like, oh, well,
imagine the pitch meeting for that.
like Sussex has the word sex in it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's so stupid. I don't know.
Roberta,
So
you're so
silly.
funny. Milo is just, and I guess we're just doing a lot of highs and lows on the Sussexes. Apologies, we'll branch off in a minute. But basically, just the interviews with passengers that were maybe on the flight that Prince Harry was
my
on from LAX to
gosh.
the UK. Did you see some of these?
Yes, they
HRH
were
of
like-
Sussex, the Instagram account is such a good follow for this because she was screenshotting a lot of those. But Natalie said, "I was sat in business and I woke up after a nap and got up to stretch my legs. I was walking up and down and I could have sworn I saw a guy in first class in sweats asleep." Just the vagueness. Is that supposed to, is it Prince Harry? Is it not? Like, who's doing these interviews? The follow-up also, her acknowledging what I just said. She said, "It might have been him, but then it might not have been." Like, Eureka, we officially don't know if this was an actual reliable source on the plane with Harry. It just,
I love that
of
all
course,
the
it's Daily
passengers
Mail.
said that. Yeah, I love that all the passengers like, there was a man sitting in first class with his head down, and everyone's like, maybe it was the prince. But I just think it's so funny that the Daily Mail is like, these passengers were next to Harry. There's no confirmation in anything they've said that even comes close to that.
Yeah, there's not even a distinguishing characteristic. It's not like I don't know, it's just like I saw the prince in first class would be great. Interview that person, but these are all just so random. Anyways, it made me laugh. It was a low.
I love it. All right, my high this week is, so I was going to talk about James Middleton getting dressed up in a velvet blue jacket, but I think I have to talk about new pictures of baby Augie.
Wow.
Baby Augie.
I love the last second switch here.
Yeah, last second.
I know your
switch
love
here.
of James.
This is the link. I
All
chatted
right,
it
I
to
got
you
it. I
in
got
the
it.
Zoom.
I haven't seen these pics.
Eugenie took August to see elephant statues in London's Green Park. I just feel like we haven't gotten to see August's face since he was born, since that very first photo. And so we get to see his face, and he's so cute.
She's
He's getting
loving
so big.
motherhood. It's like you can only imagine how excited she is to just share him with the world.
I also think August is a redhead. I think there's a little patch of red hair there. And Eugenie's kind of a redhead. She's like an auburn.
Yeah, she is. Oh, I
Has
just heard
auburn
it.
hair.
I would have hearted it anyway, but I just did it live on this podcast.
I don't
Sorry.
know. I'm excited to see new pictures of his face because we
Yeah.
always see him from the back where they're holding him, and he has his little sweater on that says August, or he's in a pram, or he's in the Baby Bjorn. So we haven't seen him since February. That's a long time. At
It
least
is.
4 months.
Great photo update. It was only a couple hours ago that this went live. I haven't seen him. My high is the idea that royal red carpet events are back. Prince William, his Earthshot announcement confirms that the first annual awards, which will honor the inaugural 5 finalists, will be held October 17th at Alexandra Palace in London. I actually checked it out, the geotag, and it looks like it's a venue with a lot of outdoor potential. So I feel like it's a really safe choice in the event, still figuring out the pandemic. But he said it will include show-stopping performances and never-before-seen musical collaborations. Who do you think? I feel like Shakira, we know, is involved.
Oh, that's
and,
right. I forgot about Shakira.
I think it'll be really exciting. But I'm just like, bring on the fashion, bring on this whole concept, which I cannot wait to see what the first 5 finalists have come up with, because I think that that's really exciting too, just the idea of it. But I'm excited.
I'm so excited the red carpet events are back. I feel like even James Middleton dressing up with his fiance, that was so
I'm sure they're on the guest
thrilling
list.
to see the pictures. All right. Well, is that it for this week? We
That's
had
it.
so much.
That's it.
I feel like, and we also have a part 2 episode
We'll be
coming out
back
Friday. We'll
on
be
Friday.
back. So we'll talk all about the statue unveiling on Friday. So do not forget to tune in. And for next week, the very special episode with Noah Rothbaum, all about royal cocktails, what the royal family likes to drink, where to go if you ever visit London. So that and so much more next week. Reminder, leave us a royal rating on Apple Podcasts. We have over 2K. I'm so excited that we have 2,000 reviews. This review says, love it. I love listening to this podcast. It is so relaxing and light. Yay.
So
Reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram at Royally Obsessed Podcast and send us an email, info@gallerypodcast.com. And till Friday, God save the pod.
Her Majesties of Royally Obsessed have retired for this episode. God save the pod. And if you fancy the podcast, give Royally Obsessed the royal rating of 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Royally Obsessed Podcast and join our Facebook group, Royally Obsessed. Royally Obsessed is a Gallery Podcast production.
Right now, savings goals might feel out of reach, but with the U.S. Bank mobile app, we can help you put money aside in a way that won't make you miss it. Using personalized insights, you can save in a way that works in real life and all the curveballs that come with it. So let's get you closer to whatever it is you're saving for. Because at U.S. Bank, even our tools are smart enough to put people first. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.